Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ralph Baer before the court on the matter of State versus Leonard Person, P-E-R-S-I-N.
All right.
Page 5. Mr. Person is in the order and is here for a change of plea.
Okay. All right. That was this one then. All right. Very well. Thank you. So let's get Mr. Person in then, please. Yes. Is that Mr. Person?
Yes, sir.
All right, very well, thank you. All right, come on up, Mr. Person, please. All right, Mr. Person, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm, sir, that the testimony you're about to give to me today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Lower your hand. How old are you, sir?
51,
Okay. What's the highest level of education you completed, sir?
1 year.
1 year of college? Okay. So you don't have a degree. Nevertheless, with 1 year of college under your belt, you probably do understand what's going on here today. But I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you understand what's going on here, Mr. Person?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the paperwork I've been provided leads me to conclude that you intend to plead guilty to the charge of the first-degree misdemeanor charge of possession of drug paraphernalia for your own personal use. Is that, in fact, what you intend to do?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that I anticipate, well, I'm being asked essentially to adjudicate you guilty based on that guilty plea in a few moments, to sentence you to 2 days to be served in the Palm Beach County Jail, but with credit for the 2 days that I'm told that you've apparently already served. So there's no additional jail time. It's essentially a time served plea. Is that consistent with your understanding of the deal?
Yes, sir.
All right, very well. Pardon me. All right, Ms. Black, would you please outline the terms of the deal, then give me the factual basis for the plea I'm going to be taking for Mr. Person?
Case number 21 CF 002815, the defendant's pleading guilty to possession of paraphernalia use, lesser included charge of first-degree misdemeanor. PSI is waived, not required. He is to be adjudicated. He's paid standard court costs and fines, including the $100 cost of prosecution. He's sentenced to 2 days in Palm Beach County Jail with credit for 2 days, and he agrees that 2 days is the correct amount of credit and waives any affirmative right to appeal. As far as the factual basis goes, on April 3rd, 2021, officers are patrolling in Delray Beach. At that time, they noticed that the defendant failed to come to a complete stop at a stop sign. Subsequent to initiating the traffic stop, they smelled the odor of marijuana and searched the car and found paraphernalia. The defendant can be positively identified, in these events occurred in Palm Beach County, Florida.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Black. Mr. Person, back to you, sir. Are you, is that which we've all heard Ms. Black announce here in open court today concerning the terms of your deal consistent with your understanding of the deal?
Yes, sir.
All right, anybody promise you anything additional, different, better, sweeter in an effort to get you to plead guilty to possession of drug paraphernalia?
No, sir.
All right, very well. Let us direct our attention, Mr. Person, to a couple of documents. The first one we're going to discuss is called the waiver of rights sheet. Even though, Mr. Person, this is called a sheet, it is comprised of 2 pieces of carbonless paper. My copy, as you can see, is white. What color is yours, sir?
Pink.
All right, so on this 2-page document, Mr. Person, there are 16 numbered paragraphs. Off to the left of each of those 16 numbered paragraphs, I see initials. I guess they could be LP. In any event, did you put those initials there?
Yes, sir.
All right. And a little over a third of the way down on the second page over the line marked defendant's signature, I see a signature I cannot read. Is it your signature, though?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Baer has signed it as well. I can't read his signature, but as an officer of the court standing there, he would tell me if that were not his. Therefore, the 2 signatures and your 16 sets of initials, Mr. Person, tell me that you and Mr. Baer had the opportunity to go through the waiver of rights sheet together and did so. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did Mr. Baer explain the waiver of rights sheet to you to your satisfaction so that you feel as if you understand it, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you got any questions about it you'd like to ask me?
No, sir.
Okay. Very well. So I got to make sure a few things are crystal clear on the record, Mr. Person. First of all, do you understand, sir, that by pleading guilty in a few moments to this possession of drug paraphernalia for your personal use charge in a few moments, you're going to be waiving or giving up the right to a trial by jury?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you understand, sir, that if you wanted to have a jury trial, you'd be represented by Mr. Bear or maybe a different lawyer. But in any event, the lawyer would have both the opportunity and the right to confront and cross-examine each and every witness that the state of Florida, through either Ms. Black or maybe a different assistant state attorney, would be presenting against you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, do you understand that if you wanted to have a jury trial, you would consult with Mr. Bear on the question whether you wish to testify in that jury trial? You might decide to testify, but you might decide not to testify. And if you were to decide not to testify, I or whatever judge would be presiding over your jury trial would turn to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who would be seated right over there in that great big box where those three folks are now seated, and I would say to them, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you cannot hold Mr. Person's decision not to testify. In other words, you cannot hold his silence against him in any way, shape, or form. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, do you understand that in order for you to be convicted of this charge, the state of Florida would have to prove each and every element of it beyond a reasonable doubt? You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. And finally, Mr. Person, do you understand that if you decided to have a jury trial and you lost, you'd still have the right to appeal to a higher level court? Understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, in spite of all those understandings regarding jury trials and your right to have one, it is your decision, your intent this morning to plead guilty to this possession of drug paraphernalia for your personal use charge, a first-degree misdemeanor, and thereby waive or give up your right to a trial by jury, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very well. I'm assuming, well, I shouldn't. What's, okay. Thank you. So, Mr. Person was not previously adjudicated a felon. He's not going to be today. Let us keep it that way, Mr. Person. You don't ever want to become an adjudicated felon. So the good news is I can skip down to this. Mr. Person, I do not need to know whether you are or are not a U.S. citizen. But if you're not a U.S. citizen, you should assume, sir, that the federal government, not Florida, the feds are going to take a look at your deal here. They're going to say, hey, Mr. Person, not a U.S. citizen. We don't want him in the country anymore. We're therefore going to initiate proceedings that will result in his deportation. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very well. Let's now, Mr. Person, direct our attention to a second document on carbonless paper. This one is called Plea in the Circuit Court, and it is comprised of only one sheet. My copy again is white. What color is yours?
Pink.
Pink again. All right. So down here in the lower right-hand corner, over the line marked defendant, I see a signature, which again I cannot read. Is it yours, though?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very well. And Mr. Bear has signed it as well. So together, the two signatures tell me again that you and Mr. Bear, have the opportunity to go through the plea in the circuit court sheet together and did so. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
All right. Did Mr. Bear explain the plea in the circuit court sheet to you to your satisfaction so that you feel as if you understand it, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions about it you'd like to ask me?
No, sir.
Okay. Very well. It's very straightforward. Is either side aware of any physical evidence that could be tested that might result in the discovery of exculpatory information that could be used by Mr. Person or on his behalf? All right, Mr. Person, very important question to you, sir. Are you satisfied with the advice, the services, and the counsel that you have received from Mr. Bear in this matter?
Yes, sir.
Has Mr. Bear in fact done everything you've asked him to do, defending you in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right, very well. Do both sides stipulate that there is a factual basis for the plea I'm about to take from Mr. Person? Very well. All right, Mr. Person, on the charge that you were in possession of drug paraphernalia for your personal use, a first-degree misdemeanor, how do you plead, sir? Guilty or not?
Guilty to the misdemeanor.
All right, I accept your guilty plea. I find that you make it knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily after your having received the advice, the services, and the counsel of Mr. Bear, with whose advice, services, and counsel you are in fact satisfied. I further find that you understand the nature and consequences of your guilty plea, and I find that there is a factual basis for it. Therefore, in accordance with the deal that you've been able to work out with the state of Florida with Mr. Bear's assistance, I do adjudicate you guilty. I do sentence you to serve 2 days in the Palm Beach County Jail. However, I will give you credit for the 2 days that I'm told you've already served. Therefore, there's no additional jail time. The only other thing I believe I have to address is the issue of cross fees and fines. I'm told they total $338 in this case. What arrangements are going to be made for Mr. Pearson to pay those?
Plan on paying them today.
All right, very well. So that means that as soon as you're released from the courtroom here today, you go downstairs to the third floor and pay those court costs.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else on Mr. Person?
Yes, Your Honor, with the court's permission, there was a traffic infraction issued simultaneously or contemporaneously. We'd like to see if we can resolve that today.
Lead up to the judge's discretion. He ran a stop sign.
All right. I'll dismiss those charges. All right?
you.
All right, you're welcome. Oh.